You're on the Bible Forum. I'm Warren Sprouse. We're in the midst of the coronavirus epidemic here in the United States. I want to talk to you about the future that is now. House Democrats have proposed a digital dollar currency. It's not news. It's been around almost as long as I've been on the planet. Been around over 50 years. It's a type of currency that would be controlled by the Federal Reserve. A currency meant to make payments to people and businesses that have been forced to shut down amid this pandemic. And the question is asked, what could possibly go wrong? House Democrats included a provision for this digital dollar in the $2.6 trillion draft stimulus bill, $2.6 trillion over whatever this year's budget is, a bill they introduced Monday that would provide monthly economic relief to qualified individuals. Now, the backstory here is that the U.S. budget has been generally kept through the year 2000, wars notwithstanding. But when you look at the chart, you look at the numbers, you realize that beginning in the year 2000, all bets were off. From 2001 until now, the annual budget of these United States has never been adhered to. Always went over budget so routinely that now no one expects to actually live within their means. This is a form of immorality. I'm told if you work for the federal government and you don't spend the money they have given you for this fiscal year, you won't get as much next year. And so good stewards that these leaders are, they make sure they spend all their money. And then they put in requests for a budget that exceeds what they got last year to make sure they have enough. Allow for inflation. Oh, and so far the Obama administration went over budget more than any other administration, including the Trump administration. You don't believe me? There's a website, polidiotic. I guess it's polidiotic. Yeah, polidiotic.com. Just look up the article under the heading "By the Numbers" / U.S. federal deficit by year. If you didn't get that, write to me. Write to the BibleForum@gmail.com and I'll email it to you. According to the draft of this bill, a digital dollar would be defined as, quote, a balance expressed as a dollar value consisting of digital ledger entries that are recorded as liabilities in the accounts of any Federal Reserve Bank, or an electronic unit of value redeemable by an eligible financial institution as determined by the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve. The digital dollar would also be managed and controlled solely by the Federal Reserve Bank. Digital dollars would be stored in a digital wallet or account maintained by a Federal Reserve Bank on behalf of any person that represents holdings in an electronic device or service that is used to store digital dollars that may be tied to a digital or physical identity. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell had told lawmakers last year that he was looking into the costs and benefits of pursuing just such a system. In fact, a cashless digital currency system is one of the main hallmarks of the New World Order, an agenda being proposed for decades by globalists, because such systems would allow governments and banks to closely monitor and track the behavior of citizens. We haven't talked about the New World Order for several years. But if you go back through the archives, you'll find there's a lot to be said here. Alternative Markets' Brandon Smith wrote, quote, "Over the course of a decade, the masses have been acclimated to the idea of a digital currency system. They're now being acclimated to the idea that physical currencies should be done away and replaced with a more efficient blockchain tech. How have we communicated that we don't like actual cash anymore? We have done it by buying with our cell phones. We have done it by buying with credit cards and with other kinds of cards, debit cards. We don't like carrying cash around. It's not convenient. Death to the dollar. Death to the Fed. Death to the globalists, say activists, as they cheer for the new digital landscape. But this is not what is really happening. The death of the dollar and physical cash is only the primer for a new and even more invasive world order. According to Smith, the coronavirus outbreak serves as a perfect pretext to introduce a cashless system. Government institutions have already been claiming that physical paper money could uncontrollably spread the virus. A World Health Organization representative said earlier this month, "We know that money changes hands frequently and can pick up all sorts of bacteria and viruses and things like that. We would advise people to wash their hands after handling banknotes and avoid touching their face." Now, fortunately, the House is not scheduled to vote on these Democrat measures as of this writing, but don't count them out. They're a little busy these days getting their hat handed to them over this coronavirus thing, but they will regroup. They will come back, and they will want to do this. I would encourage you to go to the YouTube channel and look for a movie, a little 6-minute video that Mark Levin featured on his show just this past week. It's entitled The Pencil, the story of our interconnectedness and strength. All you have to do is go to YouTube and search for pencil, the movie. It's an interesting observation.